Alright guys, welcome back for another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we are once again making treasure map teams. This time it's for the upcoming treasure map versus Rob Lucci. And one thing to note before we jump into it is this treasure map, there will be more points added to it. So when you're in the East Blue League, you can go up to 15 million, Grand Line League will go up to 20 million, and New World is going to go all the way to 30 million, so just keep that in mind. I know before, like usually it's been 10 million, 15 million if it's been like a celebration. So this time just keep that in mind with that change there, that it's going to be 15 million on the lowest league, and up on the Grand Line League it's going to be 30 million. So just make sure you're still getting your awards and stuff like that, and playing through and farming the event. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started on the teams here. So first things first is versus Vegapunk here. And I do want to preface by saying these teams do not require any of these three, or any of the new units at all. So they don't require Kizaru, Sentomaru, or Aokiji. Not Aokiji, Akainu. So none of the new units will be used, or any of the like Dory, Luffy, Bragi, and Usopp Batch. None of those characters are being used. But for Vegapunk, you're going to have Strength, Dex, and Int units are going to be getting the cooldown. Going into Battle 2 here, also against Vegapunk, you're going to be hit with, he's going to have Delay Immunity only, so you can inflict anything else on him. Your right column, so the side with your captain, is going to be binded for 10 turns. So this part really sucks here is if you do an attack boost, a slot boost, or a type effect boost, so color affinity, he's going to have intimidation, and it's going to remove 1 turn of it. So you're going to need to use 2 turn boost to have any kind of like buff on that stage, out of those 3 buffs anyway. Your left column, so your friend captain side, is going to get their specials reversed by 2 turns, and then they're going to have their specials, their cooldowns locked behind 2 goods. And going into Battle 3, he's going to have full immunity. His weakness type is Cerebral. He's going to have Super Burn for 7 turns, 10 turns of defense up, 12 turns of left column bind, so this time it's your friend captain side and it's more bind, 6 turns special bind, and for 3 turns a special use limit where you can only use 3 specials. So this is the team I've cooked up. Again, this team does not require like using like any of the new units. Made it that way just because it's going to be easier to like search for like characters and stuff like that, or search for friend captains. This team in particular is going to use double Kobe. So the way this team is set up is it will not work with a friend captain Kizaru. So I do want to preference that. I know sometimes I set up teams where you can use the new unit or anybody else, but in this case, like, it has to be double Kobe, and the reason for that is because of Helmeppo requiring 3 sword characters. So Helmeppo himself and then the Kobe friend captain and captain both count for it, and we're going to be getting rid of that bind with Kobe's captain ability. So let me go ahead and break down what Kobe's captain ability does, because it is crucial for this team. So with Kobe's captain ability, he reduces specials by 1, and he boosts fighter, striker, cerebral characters attack 5.25, HP by 1.25, and he makes Sai and Tandem slots matching. Reduces your damage by 15%, and here's where the territory stuff is why like we're taking Kobe as like the captain. If territory fighter class is on the field, boosts fighter character's attack by approximately 6 times. If the crew uses a special to apply territory any class, which Kobe applies fighter territory with his special, for those who don't know. Heals crew by 600,000 HP in a turn for 7 turns. Reduces crew's special bind and bind duration by 6 turns. Up to 2 times. This effect will activate even if the territory effect cannot be applied due to having a shorter duration than the existing territory effect. So since this can be applied 2 times, we're going to get 1 proc each for both stages 2 and 3 to remove that bind. So just to further break that down and how that's going to work, now that y'all have an understanding of how Kobe works, let me go ahead and switch over to my iPad here, where I have the TM planner pulled up, and I can like break down the order that you're going to want to like use the specials and stuff like that. So first up on stage 2, you're going to want to use Wand to Carrot. There's no reason to super switch them or anything like that, so you can just go ahead and use a special. And that's because their super switch and their special, either one is just going to give you a 1-turn attack boost, 1-turn orb boost. So the intimidation is just going to get rid of that anyway. So there's no reason to worry about that. But Wand and Carrot, they're going to rewind everyone's specials for them. And they're also going to set Vegapunk's defense to 0 on stage 2, since he only has delay immunity on that stage. So they'll allow us to get some extra damage. Now, using, we're then going to use our friend Captain Kobe. So by using Kobe's special, once we trigger his special, it'll activate the territory for fighter, since he's in the captain position. He doesn't apply territory if he's a crewmate, just FYI. So since he's captain or friend captain, he will apply territory fighter. Once that's applied, it'll remove the bind and special bind for 6 turns. And since there's 2 Kobes, it'll be 12 turns of each for that proc. So then once we go into the 3rd stage, like I said, that you'll see when we get to stage 3. So he also is going to give us a 2-turn orb buff. Now with the intimidation, it'll go down to 1 turn. Since he's in the captain position, the orb buff is increased. So it'll be a 3 times orb buff to fighter, striker, and cerebral. So we'll get some pretty good damage from him there. He'll also do damage to the enemy. I don't know. Yeah, there is normal attacks only, so that doesn't matter. But either way, you don't have to worry about Kobe's cooldown, even though he's not he's not strength, dex, or int. Because since he's a TM legend, he gets 7 turns of cooldown anyway. And also, the ship can give you 2 if you're using this one, which I selected just for the more damage. But for right now, boosted is Laboon. And you see here, Laboon will give everyone 5 turns of cooldown. So you're not going to have to worry about Kobe's cooldown at all. Because I don't think he has cooldown ability. No, he doesn't. But again, with Laboon, I'll just set it there. He'll be good to go because that'll be 5 turns from Laboon. His captain ability is 1 each, so that's up to 7. Cooldown sockets is up to 9, and then with the -7 that he gets just from being a TM legend, he'll be good to go by the time you get to stage 2. So I'll just set it to Laboon. The Laboon ship, while it's boosted right now, is going to give you a 1.6 times attack buff to all characters, by the way. So it is a good ship right now, especially like that is helpful in this situation for making sure that we can have Kobe good to go. So damage will be a little tight on that stage. Just wanted to warn y'all in preference to that, because we're essentially only going to have the orb buff, but hopefully it'll be enough to get us by. We'll have the orb buff and we'll have the territory, but hopefully it'll be enough to get us by. And Vegapunk's defense will be set to 0. I keep forgetting that part of it too. So we'll see. If we need to switch up the team as we get further in the treasure map, we will, but hopefully everything's good there damage-wise. Now regarding stage 3, since we have the bind and the special bind to deal with, so our friend captain side is going to be binded for 12 turns. So what you want to do here to first get rid of the special bind is you're going to use your Captain Kobe's superclass, which, by the way, on stage 2 you use your friend Captain Kobe's superclass just to get the full board of matching slots. But you'll use your captain's ability or superclass here, so that way, yeah, it makes like super fighter for like him or whatever. But most importantly is it removes his special bind duration, gives a full board of matching slots. Once his special bind duration is removed, you can obviously use his special, and then in using his special, it's going to apply the territory. With the territory applied, now the bind will be removed from the proc of both Kobe's captain abilities, as will the special bind on everyone else. So then after you use Kobe, you're going to want to go ahead and use... what order did I have them in? After using your friend Captain Kobe, go ahead and use Helmeppo. So when you use Helmeppo's special, he's going to set all enemies' defense to 0. And since we have 3 or more sword characters, that's going to go through immunity. And also, since we have 3 or more sword characters, he's going to give us a chain multiplicative buff of 1.75 for 3 turns. And he's going to lock, he's going to set the chain boundary to 2.25 to 25. And he changed slots. I didn't even realize Helmeppo changed slots, but either way, we'll have a full board match in slots. I don't think we'll get access to a super class because we'll have 2 Kobes, and I think it has to be 2 different characters. So I don't think we'll get the super slasher. But either way, no problem there. If we get it, it just gives us an overrival attack buff, but we're going to get a better attack buff with supports, which I'll break down the supports later. None of the supports are required. They just give you some extra damage on the final stage. So next you want to go ahead and use Stussy. So Stussy's here because she has, and I need to actually level up her support ability, or her potential ability here. She can get rid of the 3 turns of special limit use, so that way you can use more specials on this final stage. And she's going to go ahead and also, she's a self-procking conditional buff. So she's going to delay the enemy through immunity, and she's also going to do extra damage to delayed enemies of 2.25. Or 2.5, sorry. After Stussy, you're going to go ahead and use Ryokuyu. Once you use him, he's going to remove the burn. And you want to save using him for last because he's going to change all your slots to Dex. Which is important because we're already going to have an orb buff, so his orb buff won't be applied. But he's going to make all the slots Dex, and he increases the value of Dex slots. So he's going to make Dex slots the same multiplier of a Wano slot. So obviously you want to use him last to make sure that make sure everybody has the Dex slots, and he has a crewmate ability that makes everyone's Dex slots matching. The supports on here aren't needed; they're just here for some extra damage. Tashiki's here so that way we get color affinity for our crew of 1.75. The only character who's getting color affinity is going to be Stussy, so just make sure you tap with her last. We're kind of channeling all our damage into Stussy, at least for the final stage. When you use Stussy's special, Atlas's support ability will trigger, which will give an attack buff of 1.75. To cerebral characters. Or was it Int and Cerebral? Int and Cerebral, but it's mostly... What's most important about that is that this is not color affinity, it'll trigger for 4 of our characters that are cerebral. And then we have the Zoro support here on Wanda and Carrot, just to give us a chain additive buff of 0.5. So that way we already have the multiplicative buff and the chain boundary from Helmeppo. So I'm not worried about the final stage at all. Even though we're only going to have color affinity with Stussy, I'm not worried about it because of, like, we're channeling so much damage into her. I am worried about stage 2, but we'll see how far this team, like, gets us and stuff like that. Going into the second fight versus Lucci. So versus Lucci, again, recommended characters are 2 of the new ones plus the Usopp and Dory. This time, Free Spirit, Driven, and Cerebral all get cooldown. So Lucci gets a 1-turn slot barrier of Psi slots. The top row is going to get Special Reverse for 2 turns. Then your top row slots are changed to Unfavorable. Your crewmate slots are changed to Quick. 9-turn top row Bind. So your captains are going to be binded for 9 turns. crewmate special reverse of 2 turns. And then, what is this next one here? Crewmate special turns locked for until 2 goods are hit. And then again, the special limit debuff again for only can do 3 specials for 3 turns. So you're going to carry that into the next stage. And lastly, your top row gets slot change impossible until 2 good slots are hit. So this fight was mad annoying to like try and figure out. Just being honest, like this one, this was one of the toughest treasure map fights I feel like I've seen them make. It's so like they just throw so much shit at you. It's crazy, but we have a good team for it. I'm not worried about how it's going to be. The second stage, the damage might get tight, but it's not as bad as the prior one. But not worried at all again about third stage, but we'll get into it. Because there's still more gimmicks to come. So for Battle 3, Lucci's also weak to Cerebrals. He gets 5-turn Rainbow Shield, 5-turn Threshold. All your slots are changed to the block slots? Block slots. And for 10 turns, the bottom row is going to be binded. And for 7 turns, the top row is special binded. And for 3 turns, the middle row gets hit with blow away. So hella annoying. So the team we have for this one is set up like this with versus Zoro and versus Nostro as the captains. So that's how we're running it. It's like this hybrid setup with them. So just keep that in mind. And I'll explain like the order that we need to go through the specials and everything. So for stage 2, the first thing you need to do is this time you do want to super switch Wanda and Carrot. So again, Wanda and Carrot's here just like we were on the prior stage to give everyone the cooldown. Now Zoro's captain ability does reduce 10 turns of cooldown. I don't know if that's still going to proc when he's binded. That's the only thing. So my thinking is he might only undo the 2 turns to the top row and then maybe not the crewmates. We'll see if he does it for the crewmates too. That's great. If not, we got Wanda and Carrot. They're Cerebral and Slasher, so they're buffed by both captains. They're great to have on the team anyway. They give you an attack and orb buff on this stage. And like I said, they'll give you the cooldown if it's needed. Then we're going to go ahead and activate Kobe. So this time Kobe is in the... Kobe is a crewmate. He's not the captain. So special is a little different when he's a crewmate. You're still going to get the orb buff, but you already have Wanda and Carrot since you got to use it for the cooldown if you have to. So you won't get his orb buff, which is no biggie. But since he is going to be in the crewmate spot instead, he's going to reduce bind and special bind by 6 turns. So it's 9 turns to your captain. 3 come off because of sockets. So then Kobe will remove the remaining 6. So after Kobe does that, you'll want to then go ahead and use, was it Zoro or Nostro? You want to use Zoro's versus ability next. So with Zoro's versus ability and Nostro's versus ability, they're both similar in the fact that they change all slots to their character's own type. But we want to save Nostro's for the final stage. And we want to use Zoro's on this stage. So Zoro, that'll it also gives like, what else does this give? Territory Dex. It gets tap time damage at the end, HP guard, yeah, and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's just great. It's just some extra shit. The territory is good because it'll give extra damage to him and Wanda and Carrot. So sure, we'll take it. We'll take the extra damage. I have the Tashigi support on Kobe, by the way. Again, not needed, but it'll give color affinity, which will work for Atlas and the Pacifista, assuming the second stage is also going to be Psy. But with Zoro's versus ability, you're getting your hair everywhere, Haley. You need to be brushed. With Zoro's versus ability, what it's going to do is by giving everyone matching slots, it'll give Kobe a Psy slot. So obviously we want to tap with Kobe first to break the barrier of having one Psy slot. So then once we get to the final stage, now this time we don't have a way to get rid of the special use limit, so we're going to just be using 3 anyway on the final stage. We're going to use Zoro first. I don't think the special order really matters on these other than using Atlas last, so you can use Zoro or Nostro in whatever order. But by using Zoro, what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and remove the enemy's threshold, and he's also going to give us an attack buff, and he's going to apply resistance down. So Zoro's going to give us... Haley's completely covering the camera there. That's alright. Zoro's going to give us the attack buff for the crew, and he's going to remove that threshold. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and use Nostro. So what Nostro is going to do, which by the way, his captain ability completely removes... Or it removes 10 turns of special bind, so I'll completely remove it here. Because we have at least 4 characters that are Egghead, 5 Elder, World Government tags. So we're good to go in that regard. So that's how we're getting around the special bind in this one. Zoro also, by the way, I actually forgot this was important about Zoro too, is he removes bind by 7 turns. So it's 10 turns of bind to your bottom row. So with sockets, it becomes 7, so Zoro will fully remove the bind. Also, when you use Nostro's special, he's going to go ahead and apply, gosh, what is it called? Class Advantageous buff against for Cerebral and Slasher, and Lucci's weak to Cerebral characters, so we'll get to make benefits of that. And he's going to give us a color affinity for our Slasher Cerebral Strength characters. So good to go in that regard. And he'll buff that color affinity also, just a little bit. So then we're going to use his Versus effect. So with his Versus effect, once again, this will get rid of the block slots. It will make all the block slots matching. And he'll also give us Territory Cerebral. So that's why we want to use him on the final stage, just so we can get some more damage against Lucci there. Because there's more Cerebrals than there are Dex characters on this team. And he's going to apply like a resistance down, but it's only for strength, so I think he's going to be the only one to get like a benefit of that. But lastly, we'll go ahead and use Atlas. So, and by the way, on Zoro, when we use his special, it will trigger this Koromosaki Hiyori. I can't remember how the hell you say her like other name. Sorry, Chad, it's been a long week, y'all. If y'all seen the stream, y'all know. It's just going to give us a chain additive buff of 0.7, just for some extra damage. So when we use Atlas, she's going to go ahead and remove the Rainbow Shield. And she's also, because we have an attack buff, she's going to buff that attack buff by 0.5. So she's just going to make that like stronger. And then with the Lilith support on Atlas, we'll get a slot buff for our Cerebral characters of 1.75. So again, and y'all are probably wondering like, well, what the hell is the Pacifista here for? So the Pacifista is here not for his special at all. Like, it doesn't really matter. You can use it if you want, but I don't see when you'd ever get like a chance to, because you can only use 3 specials. So yeah, he has a better slot buff, but none of his utility we need or anything like that. The only reason why he's here is for this crewmate ability of middle row characters cannot be blown away by attack, so that way on the final stage we have all 6 of our characters to tap with and combo with. And he's Cerebral, and he gets color affinity, so that's why the Pacifist is here. He's just really good in that regard. But other than that, like this one, I'm not really worried about at all, because we're going to have the attack and orb buff on the second turn. It's just this fight, we're going to have a really strong orb buff, but it's still, I'm just still worried about the damage in this fight. So we'll see. But again, none of these teams require any of the new characters. Because that Kizaru, he wasn't the best. I couldn't foresee a lot of people pulling for him. He wasn't as good of a treasure map character as some other ones, which he does have. He's not completely bad. Like, I think he's better than the Sabo and the Ace that came out. The TM Sabo, the TM Ace, probably better than the TM Tashigi. Or he might be even with Tashigi, but Tashigi's not great. Like, there's great TM legends, like, of course, Nami Karina, Buggy, Stussy. Like, those are great, like, TM legends. He's not one of them, and with we're this close to the anniversary, I just can't foresee many people, like, pulling for this batch. So I just wanted to make it easier for me to be able to find teams, because now I can just, it'll pull up other Kobe's because I'm running Kobe, and I can just easily filter by Nushiro to grab a friend captain there. But if you guys have any questions or need any help building teams, I can try and help, like, coming up with ideas for you. I will say this, though. There is not a lot of flexibility in these two specific teams. Feel free to still ask if you're missing one character. I can do my best to look and see if I can, like, try and find a replacement for you for what that character can bring to the table. So definitely feel free to still ask. And just remember that with the Laboon ship currently boosted, giving that 5 turns of cooldown to everyone, if you have to take a non-boosted character, it is a lot easier this time than it is in some other ones because of how much cooldown you're getting from the ship. So just keep that in mind, because that may be an option too. That happens sometimes. You have to take non-boosted characters. I was lucky that I was able to make these teams where I didn't have to run any non-boosted characters, because I did see a lot of people planning for fighting Lucci, and this is an option that y'all are free to take if you want. But they were planning to fight Lucci by taking Kuma and Luffy and Bonnie because of, like, the various defensive abilities they sets up, the blow away, like all that different kinds of stuff that Luffy and Bonnie and Kuma help with. In addition to, they would have color affinity and they're cerebral, like, they're great for it. The only thing is they're not boosted units anymore. That doesn't mean they're bad. Like, obviously they're still two of the best legends in the game, but most people want to get as many points as they can, as quick as they can, so they don't have to just keep doing the event, like, non-stop, you know what I mean? So, but whichever way you have to go, you know, do you. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Hope you guys have fun, and I wish you all the best of luck in your treasure map runs. Wednesday, we will be streaming the treasure map, and so we'll be doing the treasure map like when we normally do, like around, like, lunchtime. Depending, we may also do a treasure map stream Friday at lunchtime, possibly. I'll wait and see about that, and I'm only saying that just because of how much they extended how much the rewards are and how many points you need for the rewards and stuff like that. We may do a second treasure map stream, but we'll see. I'll keep you updated on social media about that. But other than that, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the stream. Later, everybody.